God knows how many hours I spent playing Paradox Grand Strategy games, but even then there's always something new to learn. On the final frontier, when you're dealing with irrational sapiens, things get interesting and you quickly find that playing the game you normally do will quickly leave you in the dust. In my time playing Stellaris multiplayer, I've learned quite a few things that can help you raise your game and have diplomacy be an important resource that you can trade for another, more tangible resource. With these tips, you will have easier time using the soft power that is diplomacy. These are in no particular order of importance, but things that you should use as guidelines. Diplomacy, being a soft power, really depends on who you are and dealing with as much what you can bring to the table. When you can use it well, even though you are new to the system, you can lead largest alliances and thus the forces, be unassailable even if you are as small as a speck on the map, or make you seem like a benevolent dictator when you're already ahead, thus ensuring coalitions are defeated before they're even formed. So the first one is know your position. Diplomacy in grand strategy is similar to real-life diplomacy, and first thing you must do is adjust your approach based on your position, and that of your target, obviously. Your demeanor should say that you treat everyone equally, but that power difference will determine the effect of your proposals. 2 is know the baseline of what is expected of you. If you are playing in a role-playing campaign and come in with, "Hey dude, wanna go invade Austria?" You will at the very least get an awkward situation, and the impression you will make will be quite negative. While you may think this is irrational, but the way you send your message is oftentimes more important than the message, by adding some fluff and fanfare to your message. And even talking about something you do not even care about can get people to agree with you much easier if you do that with fanfare. Smart people will still do the small talk even though they find it useless, because it helps them get what they want. This does not mean you should talk about weather and how the local sports team did, but present your message in a way that fits expectations. And that way you will get an expected result. Simple but easy to forget fact. 3. Power must be backed by force. At the start of a game where the levels of people are not established, you may get some goodwill from other players until it is discovered that you cannot compete on their level. Or sometimes, such as in my case, the strategy you're using is not very effective at the early game, and thus can create an illusion that you're weak, while in truth you are building ramps. The goal there is to convince your trusted allies that is indeed the case, and your enemies that is not the case. It's a delicate balance. The way I found to increase your sway while not raising suspicion from playing lots of deception games is when talking to your alliance, let them know what you're up to and doing now, but stay quiet to your enemies. When they probe you, simply imply that you're not up to something particular or give obvious answers that don't raise suspicion, because they will either think you're a bad player or planning something really dangerous. And after you played with them a few times, they will metagame and will eliminate the idea that you're a bad player and will focus on you. This is why keeping those pressures low is important. 4. Local allies/enemies. One of the most important things you must be on the lookout for in the diplomatic power is the status of your allies and enemies. In general, you want your back against your allies or naturally defensible positions, and your enemies ahead of you. Diplomacy and having those good allies is key to winning wars before they even begin. Even if you have allies, make sure they're all ready to go to war, and if they change their mind in the last second, you now know that they cannot be trusted. 5. Keep in touch. It's not that hard to get people to sign deals with you when it's favorable, or sometimes even unfavorable to them, but they don't know it yet. Keeping those deals and alliances is the real challenge. One great thing I liked about Europa Universalis is that diplomatic relations limit, because after a certain point it is very difficult to keep track of everyone's deals, best interests, personalities, no matter how much you streamline them. So you have to pick your allies and keep in touch with important ones so your enemies do not snatch them up and convert them to their side. This will also make future deals easier because you will already have diplomatic momentum on your side. And so those were the 5 important tips for diplomacy in multiplayer strategy games. There are a few more, but these are enough to get you started on the road to become a good diplomat. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on these in the comment section, and I make a follow-up video with a bit more info. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.